Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everybody. This is Teacher Linda G, but I'm also known as your Back in the Groove Again coach because I am here to help you live your best life now so you can love what you do. And I'm also here to help you improve your English. You know, I have been teaching online now for 3 years. Yeah, a little over 3 years. I taught on Cambly. I taught on Show. I'm still on Cambly once in a while. I'm not on Show anymore. And I'm now on Fluentify. So if you want to find me there, go to Fluentify and register. Today I want to share some tips on how you can improve your English. Now you know that English uses different skills. It's just like any other language. You need to learn to speak, to write, to listen, and to listen, write, and you need to read, right? You need to listen, you need to write, and you need to know how to speak. There you go. Those are the 4 skills. And, you know, if you want to get fluent, if you want to be fluent, you have to practice all of those skills all of the time as much as possible. Otherwise, you're not going to see any progress. I've been trying to learn Spanish, and I'm telling you, I'm now understanding the importance of regular, repetitive work. Very, very important. So I'm going to share with you my screen. I want to share with you a site that I'll often use with my students. And this one, if you give me 1 second here, this is a site that I use. There, you can see that. This is a site that I use for reading. Now, this particular site has many different articles. You can see here it has articles from different categories. And you can also see here advanced, intermediate, advanced. Some are more proficient, I believe, somewhere advanced. I'm just trying to find some proficient ones. Well, they do have proficient ones as well. And what I really like about this site, I'm just going to choose one article just for an example. I like the fact that they have different categories. So if you're interested in learning about science and technology, you could filter it by that. I like the fact that they have vocabulary, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear this, but
fetch,
they also have the pronunciation
roam,
of the words. So when I work with my students, I'll get them to read the word, the definition, and the example, and I'll get them to also think of other ways to use this word. Sometimes I'll also tell them that, well, fetch is a verb, but if there was a noun as well, then I'd tell them a little bit about the noun as well. So it has a different vocabulary. And then it has an article to read. Now, when I work with my students, we'll maybe take it one paragraph at a time. I'll ask them to read it. I'll ask them if they understood it. I'll ask them, you know, if there were words or phrases that they didn't know, or words or phrases that they liked, and so on. So we'll continue. So there's it's not very long. That's one thing I like about it. And also there are questions. Now, sometimes I'll ask these questions, but oftentimes I'll think of other questions to ask them. So when I'm working with my students, this is one example of a reading site. What I often do after that, if a student wants something a little bit more advanced or to compare, I would copy this and paste it in Google. I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'll start sharing my whole window so you can see what I'm doing. I would go to Google and I would put that in to see if I could find that same article. Well, here it seems to be right here. World's biggest triceratops. Okay, goes on sale. And so here is the article, a similar article, but written in a more advanced English. And sometimes those articles are longer. So oftentimes I'll start with this, and maybe that'll be enough for the student. And sometimes I'll also add the other articles so that we can compare the language. And you can, of course, do this on your own as well. So that's for reading, and that's just one site. There's a lot of other sites too. The other thing I want to share with you is in terms of listening. As you know, listening is really important. There are a lot of different listening sites. I recently discovered this one, and I want to show you that they have listening for easy. This is a lot easier. The language is a lot easier. They have intermediate and difficult. The one that I'm looking at right now is intermediate. So you just click on the link, and there's some activities, there's some idioms, and then there's the listening activity. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear that.
Over to drop off the DVDs you wanted, and
now, one thing that I always suggest my client is for them to use a playback recorder. Now, I have that on my computer here. I think you'll be able to see that because I'm sharing the whole screen. Listen to what happens.
Where did you get all this stuff?
When I
got it. So what do you think of my new entertainment center?
Notice how it's slowing down.
And my new DVD player.
Right?
Here,
it slows
my
down.
stereo.
Which makes it easier to understand. So if you want to practice your English, your listening skills, try to find some listening apps, podcasts, or some websites like these, for example. And you may also consider using a playback rate. Now, this one is called Playback Rate Controller. That's what it's called. And you can change the speed of the audio, which is really, really beneficial. I've been using it with one of my students from Italy, and she finds it beneficial. And I actually have a class later on today that I'll be using it with her as well. So that's for reading. Now, another site that I want to encourage you is how to improve your reading skills. Now, oftentimes when I work with my students on reading, I will share a Google Drive with them and a document so that we can look at a document together. But I often recommend as well using Grammarly. Now, these are just examples of some. Grammarly is a great grammar checker. I've been recommending DeepL lately in terms of helping. Now, you need to have a good knowledge of grammar if you're going to start writing. Of course, if you're going to be practicing for the IELTS, it's completely different. So I always suggest first, before you go and start the IELTS, start writing, start practicing your writing. Now, lately I've been recommending the DeepL as a way to translate. Now, I don't recommend translating to replace that for your writing. What I'm suggesting is to use it to know how to write properly. It's a good start. It's a very good start. It's not the end of it all. You need to also have a teacher who's going to help you with the grammar, but it is a good start. And you need to also make sure that whatever software you're using to check your grammar or to translate, that it is translating the idea that you want. Today, I was talking to a student, and she wrote something that was correct. What she wrote was grammatically correct, but it wasn't expressing what she wanted to express. You see, in English, just like any other language, you could write something that's grammatically correct, but the words that you choose and the order of words that you choose might need to be different depending on what you want to say, which is why working with a teacher is always helpful. Working with the teacher to get feedback is always helpful. So that was a little bit about the writing app. Now, of course, for speaking, I think the best way to do it really is to practice, to practice, to practice, to practice. Some of my students have started to listen to some English movies. I think that's great too, with the transcript and then without the transcript, and that's helped them to speak as well. But the only way you're going to see if your speaking skills are accurate enough, if you're using the right vocabulary, the right grammar structure, is by talking to somebody, right? Talking to a teacher, which is why, there's a lot of different schools out there, a lot of different apps that you can sign up to practice your speaking. Now, I mentioned earlier that I am still on Cambly, but not as often because now I'm on Fluentify. So you'll be able to find me on Fluentify. And I think my name on Fluentify, if I check that right now, is Linda R. You'll be able to find me under Linda R on Fluentify. So let me write that down, Linda R. You'll be able to find me on Fluentify with the name Linda R. G is my middle name, R is my last name. But if you go on Fluentify, you'll be able to find me there. And the first time we meet is an assessment. So I'll be asking you questions to assess your speaking skills. And then after that, we'll be able to schedule classes. Depending on your goals, I'm going to recommend some reading, some writing, and so on. So you have an idea of how I work with my students now. I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you to find, for reading. I hope it helps you for listening. I hope it helps you for writing and for speaking. I'm here to help you too. This is your teacher, Linda G, or your Back in the Groove Again coach to help you live your best life now so you can love what you do. And of course, if you don't want to go through any platform, you can contact me at teacherlindagr@gmail.com and ask me how we can work together. I'd love to be able to teach you. Bye now. Take care.